Good evening. This is Primetime News. I'm Sonali Vanigabagage.
Good evening. I'm Joel Outskun. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Most Venerable Madhuluave Sobhita bids farewell to the nation. President pledges to abolish the executive presidency, an aspiration to the late Most Venerable Madhuluave Sobhita Thera. Cabinet spokesperson says avant-garde is connected to the recent conspiracy in the Maldives.
මාලදිවයින හරහා එනකොට මේක ඕෆ් කරා. ඒතකොට මාලදිවයිනේ මේ කාල පරිච්ඡේදයේදීම තමයි කුමන්ත්‍රණය සිදු වුනේ.
Former MP Suresh Premachandra says that among the inmates granted bail yesterday were 6 drug addicts. Chief Minister C.V. Vigneswaran says he cannot comment on the Tamil National Alliance.
After dedicating over 6 decades of his life to the betterment of Buddhism, the country and society, Chief Incumbent of the Kotte Sri Nagavihare, Most Venerable Madhuluave Sobhita Thera, was laid to rest today. The rites of the Venerable Thera were performed under full state honours at the Parliament grounds in Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte earlier this evening.
The mortal remains of the Most Venerable Madhuluave Sobhita Thera, who passed away on Sunday, the 8th of November, while receiving treatment at a hospital in Singapore, was placed at the Dham Hall of the Sri Nagavihare in Kotte until 12 this afternoon. Thousands of mourners flocked to the Sri Nagavihare to pay their last respects to the late Most Venerable Thera. President Maithripala Sirisena arrived to the Sri Nagavihare today as well to pay his last respects. The President also inquired into the funeral arrangements. The mortal remains of the late Most Venerable Thera were placed in a special enclosure this afternoon under the auspices of the Mahasangha. Crowds gathered on either side of the road to pay their respects as the remains of Most Venerable Madhuluave Sobhita Thera were taken to the Parliament grounds. The motorcade, carrying the mortal remains of the Venerable Thera, arrived at the Parliament grounds along the Bathramulla Road via the Pitikote, Bangala and Athulkote junctions. Religious observances were conducted after the motorcade carrying the remains of Most Venerable Madhuluave Sobhitathera reached the Parliament grounds in Sri Javardhanapura Kotte. Religious observances were conducted by Venerable Ittapane Dhammalankara Thera, the Mahanayaka of the Kotte Sri Kalyani Samagri Dharma Mahasangha Sabha.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi.
Dhammaṃ divaṃ-gatassa Madhuluave Sobhita Mahathera Varassa Vata Sankhara Uppadavaya Ama Maha Nirvana Sampattiyama ලැබේවා කියන ප්‍රාර්ථනාවෙන් පැම්බාජනය අතට අරගෙන ඉදම්මේ ඥාතීනං හෝතු කියන ගාථාව කියමින් පැන්වක් කරන්න. යථා වාරිවහා පුරා පරිපූර්ණන්ති සාගරං ඒවමේව ඊතෝ දින්නං පේතානං.
Over the past few days, no Thera has been praised by the media much as Venerable Sobhitathera. Today, Sri Lanka honor him similar to a king. Venerable Sobhitathera is not a king, but if I say he had the strength to make kings, then I believe that is correct. He dreamt of creating good governance and a government free of corruption for the sake of this country. So we hope that the incumbent president, prime minister and the ruling party fulfills the aspirations of the Venerable Thera in the future.
Subsequently, statements were delivered by representatives of the Malvathu and Askari chapters of the Siam sect, the Amarapura Mahasangha Sabha and the Sri Lanka Ramanya sect. Most Reverend Dr. Oswald Gomes, the former Archbishop of Colombo, also conducted a sermon. Religious leaders from different faiths also delivered sermons, highlighting the commendable deeds carried out by the late Most Venerable Thera. The message of condolence of opposition leader R. Sambandhan was delivered by Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksha.
The only way we could fulfill the aspirations of the Venerable Thera without limiting what we say to mere words is to bring about an administration system to create a just society. While thanking and praising the service rendered by the Most Venerable Madhuluave Sobhitathera, I pray that he attain Nibbana.
උන්වහන්සේ සේවයට ස්තුති කරමින් උන්වහන්සේට නිවන් සැප ලැබේවා කියා මම ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
ඊට පැහැදිලිවම උන්වහන්සේ තුල තිබුණා.
It was clear that the Most Venerable Thera was determined to abolish the executive presidency in the country. I was elected as president through the aspirations of the Most Venerable Thera, the other political leaders and the general public. Therefore, while I stand before the mortal remains of the late Most Venerable Thera, I pledge that I will use all my strength and every effort to abolish the executive presidency to build a just and democratic society like he always wished.
ජනාධිපති ධූරය අහෝසි කිරීම සඳහා මා විසින් කළ හැකි කළ යුතු සියලු කැපවීම් මම කරන බව.
යන ගමන දුක්ඛරද බාධා අපමාන ඇති වේ. ප්‍රතිපත්තිමය ජයග්‍රහණයක් බවට පත් කර ගන්නට අපි අධිෂ්ඨාන කරගන්න. මේකට පක්ෂයක්, ජාතියක්, ආගමක් නැහැ. මේක තමයි ජනතා ජයග්‍රහණය. ඒ නිසා මේ දවස අතාරින්න එපා, මග අරින්න එපා. අපිට බියෙන් සැකෙන් තොරව ජීවත් වෙන්න ඕන කරන ඒ නිදහස අපිට දැන් රටේ දැඩිව නීති ක්‍රියාත්මක කරලා මේ අවස්ථාවේ රට නිදහස් කරගන්න. අපි ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා අපේ රට හදලා අසාධාරණයක් නැති, අයුක්තියක් නැති, වංචාවක් නැති, හොරකමක් නැති, දූෂණයක් නැති, භීෂණයක් නැති නව යුගයක් උදා කරන්න කියලා ආරාධනා කරන අවසාන වශයෙන්.
Most Venerable Madhuluave Sobhitathera, for ushering in a new era, for dedicating yourself to the people, may you attain Nibbana.
Supreme Court Judge Justice Priyasa Deb took oaths as the acting Chief Justice before President Maithripala Sirisena today. He was sworn in today in the acting capacity as Chief Justice Kesri Pawan is currently overseas. Supreme Court Judge Justice Priyasa Deb took oaths as the acting Chief Justice at the Presidential Secretariat. Secretary to the President, P.B. Abekun, was also present at the occasion.
Cabinet spokesperson Minister Dr. Rajitha Senaratne addressed a media briefing in Colombo today.
ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍යාංශ නිලධාරීත් පිළිගත්ත සියලු වැරදි සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Officials at the Ministry of Defence have accepted that there were faults. The commander of the Sri Lankan Navy submitted a report on this matter. We asked if there were any weapons and they said no. There were 3 firearms for the 3 sea marshals. Who is the sea marshal? The captain gave the name of a Sri Lankan. When the vessel was boarded, an armory was discovered. No vessel is permitted to switch off the GPS. Everyone must know where the vessel is at all times. When the vessel was passing through the Maldives, the GPS was switched off. Acts of conspiracy in the Maldives took place during this period. There is a connection between these two. The relevant authorities need to be informed before a vessel departs. They need to obtain permission. Permission was not obtained from the Sri Lankan Navy. When a weapon is being issued to a person in the country, the serial number of that weapon is noted down. There is a permit for that. Nothing of that sort had been followed. They said that the former Secretary of Defence had provided them with a blanket permit. The commander of the Navy informed that the serial numbers of 43 weapons had been changed. He also called for a broad investigation on the matter.
නෙවෙයි ਉਹ යෝජනා කරා මේ පිළිබඳව මීට වඩා පුළුල් පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න ඕනේ මේ සියලුම මේ ගැන කියලා.
He did not speak a word on the matter. He was simply seated there and did not say anything. He is speaking to the press. He should have said something at the meeting. His statements are not of concern to me. He also changed sides. He should call himself that. Was he from the UNP? He came from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. He cannot make decisions, nor can I. There is a judiciary in the country for that. Who is the Minister of Justice to make court decisions? Even the Chief Justice cannot say to arrest anyone. This is like a banana republic. They are speaking the opposite of what they were speaking before.
Banana republic. නරකයි නරකයි කියලා කතා කරපු කට්ටියනේ දැන් හොඳයි හොඳයි කියන්නේ.
No, the commander of the Sri Lanka Navy said that they were carrying out these operations before. Why do you need a report for something that was already been handled? The Attorney General and Suhada Gamlat also said that this is the better avenue to proceed. He also wanted the agreement to be revoked and handed over to the Sri Lanka Navy. You can understand it when you look at the media. You can understand who wanted this. I accept that.
Questions were also raised over the issues surrounding the weapons used in the murder of Nadraja Raviraj.
Several persons have been arrested over the Raviraj murder and Eknali Goda. That is what partly Champika Ranavaka raised. 6 of them are from the military. One charge against them is that their official firearms have been found in the possession of a third party. This is without a permit. No one can possess a firearm without a permit. Under the Firearms Act, it is a punishable offence. If these 6 persons are arrested, how can persons who release 3,000 weapons remain at large? The government has changed, but the state has not changed.
ආණ්ඩුව වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙනවා රාජ්‍ය වෙනස් වෙලා නැහැ කියලා.
No, this was discussed in the cabinet. How can a person in this country be arrested and taken to the Maldives?
On to your developing story this evening, Chief Minister of the Northern Province, C.V. Vigneswaran, and several provincial ministers from the north called on President Maithripala Sirisena today at the Presidential Secretariat.
Chief Minister of the Northern Province, C.V. Vigneswaran, provincial ministers P. Aingaranesan and B. Danishwaran were present for the meeting. First, we presented the issue of the Tamil prisoners. We briefed him on the issue. He informed us that although he is of the stance to immediately release these prisoners, certain political reasons have prevented the implementation of it. We requested the President to undertake a humane approach to look into the issue and the difficulties that these inmates had to face. He pointed out the issues surrounding a pardon and the political obstacles. The Chief Minister said that the President had inquired about the Hartal campaign that is scheduled to take place in the north and the east tomorrow. We informed the President that we will be supporting the campaign in a bid to show solidarity with the inmates. He asked us as to whether the north and the east will be doing this together, and we responded as yes, we need to show our unity in the face of political obstacles.
Yesterday,
the inmates charged that the TNA did not act responsibly to ensure their release.
I cannot comment on that. I have a position in the party. There is a difference between my stance and the stance of the party. Representatives from the Tamil National Alliance visited the Valikada prison today and met with these inmates. The fast that was launched by these inmates entered its 5th day today. Commissioner General of Prisons said that the condition of these inmates are not serious. Yesterday, 31 individuals inclusive of these inmates were produced in court. The magistrate ordered that the suspects be released on 2 surety bails of 1 million rupees each and several other bail conditions including an overseas travel ban and report to the Terrorist Investigation Department once in 2 weeks. However, as these suspects failed to find any guarantors, they were returned to remand custody. The matter was raised at the cabinet briefing today.
They are accused. So there is the court proceedings take place. So yesterday only thing was they were granted bail. So they all made a big hue and cry for releasing those people. When they were bailed out, there were nobody to pay the bail and take them out. You can't expect the government to pay the bail.
Lee Rhiannon, an Australian Greens senator who has been vocal on the political prisoners in Sri Lanka in an exclusive interview with Newsfirst, continued to call for the immediate release of all political prisoners.
This is a very serious situation with regard to how the government is using the Prevention of Terrorism Act, and the Greens will continue to advocate for these people to be released. Prevention of Terrorism Act, it really is a extreme violation of the freedom from arbitrary detention. We see as something that is central to human rights standards in any country. When people decide to go on hunger strike, it reflects that they've got to a point where they're feeling very disempowered, very hopeless, and that's one of the reasons that I spoke in Parliament that about the hunger strike, about the Prevention of Terrorism Act, and how it is this blatant violation of freedom and the damage it's doing to Sri Lanka. So all these Tamil prisoners should be released.
Now the matter surrounding these prisoners was raised at several media briefings today as well. While those who made decisions during the war are at peace, those who followed those instructions and acted according to those decisions have been incarcerated. There is a struggle to release all political prisoners without any conditions. However, a group was moved and given bail. The government had put on a show where they assume that this issue has been resolved.
Many have started to say that the LTTE suspects were released and the LTTE will re-emerge following their release. They say that the country is being betrayed. The government is also attempting to stop the release of political prisoners using the intervention of the nationalists. Contradicting views are being expressed over the release of political prisoners in the north, east and the central hills. Yesterday they were released on surety bails of 1 million rupees and returned to remand custody. After 3 decades of war, the country is now enjoying peace for the past 6 years. Therefore, they need to be released. We urge the release of the political prisoners. Yesterday, the government of Sri Lanka released 28 political prisoners. Among them were 6 persons who were connected to murder, burglary and drugs. However, in the open it is said that political prisoners are released. We can say that persons involved in peddling drugs are released on the needs of the ministers and prison officials. Drug peddlers are released and they say that political prisoners were released. That is the situation of the country.
Welcome back. A schoolgirl was killed in a motor accident that took place at the Kodumbapite junction in Panduwa Sunura this morning.
The accident took place at around 7 this morning at the yellow crossing located in close proximity to the Muslim Mahavidyalaya in Kodumbapitiya. 2 students out of a group of school students who were crossing the road under the inspection of a police officer collided with a school bus. The police stated that the accident occurred due to a fault in the brakes. 11-year-old Fatima Akira died in the accident that took place while her sister sustained injuries. After the accident occurred, residents attacked the bus and the police intervened to control the situation. The victim was a student of the Muslim Mahavidyalaya in Kodumbapitiya and was a resident from Hittipola.
The Janata Sevaka Party, which is led by former leader of the JVP Somawansa Amarasinghe, marked the Il Mahaviru Day today. The 26th Il Mahaviru Day was marked at the New Town Hall in Colombo. United People's Freedom Alliance MP and leader of the National Freedom Front, Vimal Weerawansa, was also present at the event.
On that note, we wrap up the news for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Joel Outscored.
I'm Sonali Wanik-Babage. Good night.
Good night.